opportunity for if there are questions, because if there had been questions yesterday, now I'd still be doing what I was doing an hour ago, as you can see. So it's the last chance. What's on what?
On that one there, have we done that?
Oh, good God. We've not done that, no. That's another seminar. No, right, no, I'll tell you what I'll do. Come here. The only bit on here that's really perhaps of interest, but albeit only if you ever do any group sessions or stage shows. More emphasis on stage shows for this. It's, what is a stage hypnosis show? Well, like we said yesterday, it's not particularly that impressive when you break it down. It's just creating an environment where people are psychologically manipulated. But, just occasionally, if it was only, let's say you were asked to do a guest appearance, no longer than 10 minutes, at, I don't know an example, let's say a Chamber of Commerce after dinner meeting. They wanted you to do a bit of a talk on hypnotherapy, but then they said, can you do like just 10 minutes before we have the guest comedian on, or whatever act it is that they booked for that night. Well, in 10 minutes, unless you've had time in advance to precondition them and do all the brainwashing, suggestibility test, inductions, your chances of success are very minimal, or to make it successful you'll be spending so much time getting them to the point where they were cooperative or manipulable that your 10 minutes would be up, and all you'd have done really is gotten to the point with their eyes closed and then going, wide awake, back you go, which is... So sometimes, I'm very eugenically. Yes. Now I am going to specifically say to you here, please just play along with me. Because obviously we're in a totally different psychological context here than doing a show, but if you only had 10 minutes, what you could do is get up several people, the key being they must be volunteers for this to work. Coerced people, dragged out, are only likely to be any good for a stage hypnosis show if you actually then do make somebody look a bit of a tit and make them feel like, I don't want to look like that, and you spend the time to condition them, oh heck, my thumb moved further, my hands locked together to lead them down the garden path. But you wouldn't have time for that in 10 minutes. So, you'd want to be able to do what appeared to look like, placing somebody into a trance. You'd want to then be able to do one or two things that were, I won't say devastatingly funny, but in the space of 10 minutes people aren't really going to expect that anyway. That are at least mildly amusing enough that people will be talking about it afterwards when the comedian's finished. Alright, the comedian will be funnier because he's on for an hour, he's got time to work the audience, but they'll still go away and say, oh, that person was out of it and they ended up doing whatever. So we'll imagine we've got 4 or 5 people. Not necessary for the demonstration, but it looks, at least if you've got at least 4, it looks a bit like something's going on, a show then, rather than victimising somebody. Which I don't mean, I'm not going to victimise you, because obviously. No, the key is they've got to be volunteers for this to work because of how it works. And the way I'm going to demonstrate this to you, because I've only got a tie-clip mic on, when you're doing a stage show, you have a handheld mic. And the reason for that is, because if you pull the microphone away from you down to your side, you can talk to the person here, but the audience don't hear it. So obviously you're going to hear everything I say to Jim that you wouldn't normally hear if I had a handheld mic and it was held by my side while this alleged arty-farty induction music was playing. So I'm just trying to think how best... Well, work it out for yourself. It's quite evident that the stuff that I say to Jim that gives the game away on how this works is the stuff that will be said off microphone. Bit of common sense. So ladies and gentlemen, we've got our 4 volunteers. We're just going to try 1 or 2 little experiments, little things before we have a little bit of a break for you to go to the bar before the comedian comes on. Hope you're having a wonderful evening, bullshit, whatever. Thank you all for volunteering. That's wonderful. I'm sure you've all got those powers of intelligence, imagination and concentration that you need right now to be a good cooperative hypnotic subject. All I need to ask each of you is, are you prepared to be kind of hypnotised for the next just 10 minutes? Is that okay, yeah?
That's okay.
And if I was to ask you to stare at a light and take a nice deep breath in, you'd be happy to do that, yeah, Jim?
Yes.
Which is a nice way of saying, are you going to play along with me? Without having said that. That's brilliant. In that case, Jim, what I'd like you to do is just look at a light in front of you, stare directly at that light, take a nice deep breath in through your nose, and then out through your mouth. In through your nose, then out through your mouth. And one more time, in through your nose, then out through your mouth. And continue breathing deeply and regularly. And each of you, that's you, Mary, you've got 4 of them. Each of you keep doing that. Stare at the light, take a nice deep breath in through your nose, then out through your mouth. That is wonderful. And then what I'd like you to do is just close your eyes down. Just close your eyes down. That's wonderful. Jim, do us a favour. Keep your eyes closed. Relaxing, relaxing. Keep your eyes tightly closed at all times unless I say otherwise. Unless I say otherwise. And you, and you, and you. Each and every one of you on this stage, keep your eyes tightly closed at all times unless I say otherwise. In a few moments' time, I'll touch you on the shoulder. It's just a sign and a signal to relax more completely. A sign and a signal to let your heavy head fall forward onto your chest or to one side, whichever you prefer. That's great, mate. We're going to make you look a star for the next 10 minutes. That's great. Keep your eyes closed. As you relax down deeper, going down deeper with every breath that you take, and you, and you, and you, going to the side. That's it. Drifting down deeper. I'm just going to very rapidly count from 10 down to 1. On the count of 1, you'll notice something very strange for the next 4 or 5 minutes here on the stage, and that's you'll have an overwhelming desire to do almost anything and everything I say. As you listen to the music, it helps you relax more. So then when you're not talking, you're off mic. There's music, so it doesn't suddenly go dead. Yeah, so as you listen to the music and relax more, that is absolutely wonderful. Right, cheers guys and girls. We're just going to do 1 or 2 things together. Relaxing deeper and deeper. I'm not going to make anyone look stupid. I'm going to make you look stars. As you relax deeper and deeper and deeper, the deeper you go, the better you feel. And that's going to be great, because in a few moments I'm just going to ask you to do some dead simple things. And that's wonderful. Using your powers of intelligence, imagination and concentration effectively. Coming along to each and every one of you on the count of 10, 9, 8. We're just going to, keeping your eyes tightly closed, put your hands out in front of you like so. That's brilliant. And you find now that that just helps you relax. Each of your hands out in front of you. Just start moving your hands up and down in here. That's it. Just kind of a movement as if you're playing a piano. That's wonderful. And wonderful, just allow yourself to go. We end up with 4 people doing this. Now at this point the music changes into piano music. That's it, that's wonderful. As you relax more, each of you playing that piano now, keeping your eyes tightly closed. Keep moving those hands, playing that piano faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. You see the visual impression the audience will get psychologically? That is wonderful. And now the music's about to change. When I come to you, it just helps you relax more. On 5, relaxing more. Keep your eyes tightly closed. That's wonderful. That's great, Jim. In a minute you will enter hypnosis, but not like that. It's not really wonderful, each of you, that's wonderful, each of you now realising, and then the music changes into Benny Hill. Each of you now, you're milking a cow, it helps you relax more, because that laughter's good. You're allowed to laugh, but just keep your eyes tightly closed. You are allowed to laugh, but just keep your eyes tightly closed. Laughter helps you relax on the count of 4. That's wonderful. As you milk that cow, that's wonderful, and then just put your hands down into your laps, each of you, put your hands down into your laps, relax deeper, let your heavy head fall forward, keep your eyes tightly closed, relaxing down deeper as you listen to the music, relaxing more. As you'll appreciate, ladies and gentlemen, in the short time of space we have available this evening, in this 10 minutes, albeit we only have 3 or 4 minutes left, it's not really possible to take people that deep to have them doing the really bizarre things, so we're just going to try 1 or 2 more nice little things with these people. That's wonderful, you're doing great, they're loving it. I'm fucking busy. And you can laugh at any time you want as long as you keep your eyes closed, because the laughter helps you relax more. I'm talking to each of you in a few moments' time. Eyes remain tightly closed for now, but in a few moments' time I am going to awaken you. But the very moment I say sleep, the very moment I say sleep, 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 as quickly as that, a snap of the fingers, as quickly as that, a snap of the fingers, you'll just allow yourself to close your eyes. You'll just allow yourself to let your heavy head fall forward onto your chest. because by allowing yourself to do that, you will enter hypnosis shortly. And you'll find that that just allows you to go deeper and deeper and deeper, because when I awaken you in a few moments' time, I'm going to give each of you an invisible, I haven't got them with me, the glasses, but so in this case invisible, I'm going to give you a very special pair of magic glasses, and when you place these on, you'll find it very funny indeed to think that it's almost as if you can see the members of the audience of the opposite sex in the nude, and I'll just ask you one or two questions about this. You might find it very funny, you might find it amusing, you might find it strange. It's fine, everyone, just answer me questions, it'll be fine. And it'll help you relax more as you go down deeper. Okay, so each of you now, just open your eyes, wakey, 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 wakey. That's wonderful, I've got some magic glasses here, where are they? I haven't, so you're just going to have to pretend here and imagine. Right, put your magic glasses on, which you have done. There you go, you're wearing them already. And just stand up and take a little look around for me, mate. There's a lady just stood at the back there. They're quite special glasses, these. You don't need to tell anyone, you don't need to embarrass anyone, but the lady there, if you just like to stand up, that's wonderful. Yeah, please stand up. Yeah, that's you. Yeah. Marks out of 10?
Oh, definitely 10.
10? 10? Hey, you're in there, that's brilliant. And then you could carry on, you know, there's a lady here, marks out of 10 for presentation. What was she?
Oh, yeah. I'm a gentleman, 10 as well.
10 as well. I'll tell you, take a seat, you're too much of a gentleman. Let's see what this lady says. And then you carry on with yours, and then just tell you what, just, Jim, take a nice deep breath in, look at your hand, just close your eyes, let your head fall forward. That's brilliant, mate, they're loving this, fucking brilliant. Brilliant. Just keep your eyes tightly closed. Any moment now you find you relax more, any moment now you find that, all of you in a minute will be hypnotised, don't worry. You'll find in a few moments' time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not always possible to get people deep enough at these kind of things, and we have pretty much used up our 10 minutes, so let's have a bit of fun at the bar, shall we, afterwards. I'm talking to everybody on the stage. When you wake up in a few moments' time, each of you will believe, in fact, yeah, each and every one of you, when you hear this piece of music, YMCA or whatever, will believe you are the village people, and you'll be dancing around, you are the gay village people. When you hear this next piece of music, and then you play a snippet of it, so there's music on, and you go, right, look everyone, it's like this. If you just do the YMCA, it's only a fucking party tune, I'll give you each 20 quid at the bar afterwards. That's wonderful when you hear that piece of music. For some of you this will work better than others. 1, 2, you're wide awake, and the YMCA comes on, and with the music they tend to do it. And then you get them back and you go, and just close your eyes, slink, because by this point conditioning comes in. Wonderful, keeping your eyes tightly closed. Well, we're almost finished now. We just need to awaken you from that lovely trance, albeit only a light trance that you went into today. Next time I see you, I hope that we've got an hour or more, and then we can, you know, go for real deep hypnosis, which is dramatically more impressive than what you've seen this evening. So each of you now, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. On the count of 5, you'll instantly be wide awake, and I will see you at the bar later. Dual reality, this is called. Remember, that ties in with what I've said off mine. I will see you at the bar later. But I'm going to give each and every one of you one final suggestion. 1, lighter and brighter. 2, remembering only to open your eyes on the count of 5. 3, almost there now. On 4, remembering when I send you back to the bar. Each and every one of you is actually going to find something very strange indeed. Each of you is going to believe that I offered to pay you £20 each to do this evening. In fact, it doesn't matter what anyone in the audience tells you, because they've heard everything, seen everything. It doesn't matter how much they tell you, and please join in and wind them up. It doesn't matter how much they tell you that I didn't, but you'll be convinced that I did offer you £20 here this evening. 5, wakey, wakey, ride and shine. Give these 4 wonderful volunteers a huge round of applause. And you get rid of them, and you've done your 10 minutes with your music, and it looks like you've hypnotised people, and 9 times out of 10 they will go and swear blind and get quite angry and irate, sometimes convinced that you offered them £20, which obviously you did off microphone, but at the end you've just reframed it into what will become the funniest, most memorable routine of the evening, which makes you look wonderful, because through trying to slag you off for using them, they actually convinced every member of that audience that they were genuinely hypnotised. It's called the dual reality principle. The audience perceive one thing to be happening The person on stage perceives another. The person on stage thinks that by moving their hands like that, it's going to be part of the induction process. But the audience perceive it when you then change the music to piano, that you made them play piano. Same with the cow. The magic glasses, well, the prop's funny when you've got it, because it's the big glasses, so that gets a laugh, which tends to make the person laugh. But you've embedded that phrase that it doesn't matter if you laugh, you're allowed to do that. In fact, it helps you relax more, because we've not got much time. So people are very, very forgiving when you're only doing like 10-minute thing. The magic glasses. Fucking hell, fire. You put the glasses on, yeah, it gets a laugh. But all you've then got to do is say, somebody stand up, marks out of 10 for presentation. The question I've asked makes it funny. It doesn't matter what number they come out with. If they come out with a 3, it's like the audience going, "Wah!" And they're laughing not so much at the fact they've said the number 3, it's the perception of what's gone on, which is different for the audience than it is for the individual up here on stage, who ironically, after an hour or so of being at the bar and getting angry because they never got the 20 quid, and being convinced by the audience that you never said anything, because hey, the audience perceive they can hear everything you say because of the mic. They forget that, or don't realise that when it slips to your side for the second, they can't hear it. So the audience will convince them, and they'll actually start to doubt themselves. So they will actually start to come to believe that they were genuinely hypnotised, because the audience will do the long-term conditioning and induction for you. So ultimately, although it's the greatest scam on the planet, done in that manner, and you can only really stretch that out for 10 or 15 minutes, otherwise you're pushing it a bit. It's more of a guest spot on another show thing. Otherwise you do want to build up the conditioning, the suggestibility test, the apparent induction, the group. I'm going to make you look at it if you don't do it. This is more praising the ego. We're nearly there. You'll be hypnotised in a minute, so that they're thinking this is part of the hypnosis, instead of thinking I'm not hypnotised yet, whereas the audience are thinking bloody hell, he got them under quick and had them doing things. And you won't find that secret in any book. It's very closely guarded, until now. It's not even in my book, that secret, but it does work. Yeah, go on, any questions, or we're going to be sat in here all night and turn it into the... Fuck it, let's turn it into a 9-day event. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, like, because we've got through everything.
You forgot to talk about the loopholes that you told him to remind you of.
And then I told him to look in the book.
Did you? Alright.
No. The key loophole is that... Well, the wording, the explanation of why this works, you really need to read the book because it's complex law. But the wording that must be on all posters, advertising material or anything has to say, volunteers who must be aged 18 or over participate entirely at their own risk and own free will during this hypnotic style demonstration presented strictly for scientific and research purposes only. Try and break it down a little bit before we get to that wonderful end of Sunday moment. Volunteers must be aged 18 or over because you're legally, from the point of view, you're not allowed to have people who are under the age of 18. Participate entirely at their own risk and of their own free will. Further clarifies that it makes it more difficult for them to sue you if they claim a Paul McKenna headfuck, which obviously you fully got cleared of. I must make that very clear for the camera. Anyone who doesn't know about that, he was cleared. It wasn't a problem. What's a bit? During this hypnotic style demonstration, it doesn't say it's a hypnotism show. It doesn't say you're actually going to hypnotise anyone. It just says it's hypnotic style. So if ever you got took to court in front of the judge, you could do what I just did and show that nobody was ever hypnotised, so therefore I've not broken the law. But because he says hypnotic style, and the photograph on this poster is a stereotypical, or rather, you know, people connect that visually as being a hypnotist. And now, right, the heading needs to sound something like hypnotism, which, good point. I mean, this is the one off the last seminar, not... And I'll tell you now, we are stopping in the next 10 minutes or so. Because this is the marketing seminar, but I'm fairly certain that somewhere in here, which I may or may not be right, is a copy of the poster for my show. Should not be here now. The key, basically, is to give them the impression they're coming to see a comedy stage hypnotist without saying you're a comedy stage hypnotist and without saying that you're going to hypnotise anyone. Because then you can't get accused of hypnotising anyone, because in a court of law you can prove that you could do exactly what you did, even though it looked like hypnosis, without using any hypnosis whatsoever, which means that suddenly you've become exempt from the 1952 Hypnotism Act and further updates. But yes, great. Albeit only a small one. Right, can I forget what it says myself? It does say comedy hypnotist on this. Now that appears to contradict what I've just said. Well, that's because that's what you see at first sight. It doesn't actually say that. It says, above it, albeit it's in smaller letters, is the phrase, there's no such thing as a real. And underneath it, bigger, comedy hypnotist. I'm openly telling them there's no such thing as a real comedy hypnotist. I'm openly telling them in that statement I do not hypnotise people. It does not exist. Therefore, how can I be subject to hypnotism laws? You know how it's psychologically perceived? You know when you go and say, oh, I went to this nightclub recently, I tell you what, there's nothing like it. It's brilliant. People, because of the pictures and the rest of the image, perceive that as saying, this is a brilliant comedy hypnotist. Like, there's nothing like that guy, he's brilliant. Rather than it saying what he genuinely, honestly does in black and white, that there's no such thing. It's not real. It's a great scam. And then obviously, you know, then I've got some comments here, but they're press comments that have been said about me in the past, but they're in speech marks. So all it is a quotation of what somebody else has said about my show. It's not something I am claiming. So it's harmless, Guardian Group. This man is a star, Daily Mirror. He's a cheeky showman, News of the World. Britain's most outrageous hypnotist, Daily Sport. They did say that about me. However, it's in speech marks. It's truthful they said it about Jonathan Royle. That was their opinion. But I'm honestly telling people that it's not real because it doesn't exist. There's no such thing. So again, we're closer to being exempt from the laws. And the bit on the bottom, I can read you word perfect now, albeit in tiny text. Volunteers who must be aged 18 or over, I got it right, participate entirely at their own risk, agree to be filmed, that's right, I missed that out, agree to be filmed and waive all legal rights during this demonstration of hypnotic style phenomena presented strictly for research and scientific purposes only. Section 5 of the 1952 Hypnotism Act states, nothing in this Act shall prevent the demonstration of hypnosis other than at or in connection with another entertainment. So, if it's entertainment or another entertainment, you've got to have permission to do the hypno show. Nothing in section, except, forget the exact key phrase there, but it's in the book. But it goes on to basically say that exceptions to that rule are medical treatment in a medical establishment, scientific and research purposes. Now, what is research? Collecting data, collecting information, yeah? In Japan, where it's illegal to go killing dolphins, they go killing the dolphins for research, to research the stress on the dolphin and things like that, to validate the fact that they shouldn't be killed. There's always a way around things. So your research is at the end of your show, you ask, and that's why you're filming it, when, you know, you ask them a few questions like, have you been hypnotised before? How did it feel better? Or how much better did it feel? Sorry, be positive. Don't instill them to walk away and try and claim you fucked their head up. How much better did it feel volunteering and being the star than you thought it would be? So you're collecting research, and you've got video evidence of having done this. If you want to get them to sign a form and fill it in and then sign it, so you've got some, much the better you can, details in the book. Nobody can take you to court as long as you have collected some data. The only missing link to that, because that is the way around it, getting venues to book you legally, where they won't give you a licence. 9 times out of 10 these days, councils will not grant the permission, because they're trying to ban you, but they can't, because it's talking to people. The only other key thing is the pictures in the middle. I've got the stereotypical, a little one of them. I've got the tilting back. I've got people sat in a chair with their eyes closed, zonked out, mum with a dildo in the gob, like an ice cream. So that they look at it and it's like, oh, it definitely is. It's an hypnotist. It looks like what I've seen that Paul McKenna do. But that's the conclusion they've come to. And yeah, when I go on, it looks like remarkably similar to the kind of thing Paul McKenna does. However, I have honestly told them in law that there's no such thing as a real comedy hypnotist. It's under the Trades Description Act. I'm not trying to mislead the members of the public who buy tickets. I've told them honestly. And because it's for research purposes, we've collected data, which can be proven by the mini DV tape that you keep dated of that performance, or then you transfer it to DVD so it takes up less space. That's also your evidence in court if anyone ever tries to say, oh, you made me do this or made me do that. You've got a total video copy of it. That's essentially, you know, it's just unfortunate that not all venues have got the bottle to let you use these loopholes, because as of end of October, start of November last year, the Licensing Act 2003 came into force. And that's why I went and did my British Institute of Innkeepers landlord certificate.
Is that a course?
It's a one day, the local college cost like 100 quid. Because I wanted to find out what all the laws were and if there was anywhere. The way they worded the section on entertainment is such a bastard that if the venue has been granted an entertainment licence under the Licensing Act 2003, then yes, these loopholes used together as a whole, not one on their own, all of them together, you'll get away with it legally. If they haven't, you can technically, legally, still do a show there, because you're not classed as entertainment if you're doing educational research, and you are allowed to do educational research in an entertaining manner. Unfortunately, the landlords tend to shit themselves because they're scared that next time, you know, or they could have it took off them. Even though in law that couldn't happen, in practice they're feared for the business. So the best thing to do for anyone who's thinking of doing shows in England is hire your own venues. And then sign or tell the venue you will absolve them of all legal responsibility and give them a backhander and you charge on the door. Then the landlord knows he's covered legally, and then it's down to you to put your neck on the line. Although I should advise, please seek independent legal advice before following any of my legal advice. Terms and conditions do apply. And that's essentially that. Come on, time for one more question and then we're going in bar earlier, finish
This is a real good one. What other courses do you offer?
I'm going to learn.
How long have you got?
Right. They are very distinct. This one is what I class as the nuts and bolts, the building blocks for, well, anything really. Not just for hypnosis, for NLP, for life coaching. It's up to you how you go and use it. There's only 2 other courses that I really run, and that's one called Secrets of Hypnotic Success, which is again a 2-day event. But that's all the marketing, and we have video footage of me on television around the world, both on screen and what happened behind the screens, more importantly, and how they were convinced to have me on the show in the first place. Same with radio, newspaper and magazines. We cover somewhat slightly unconventional, I think could be said, approaches to increasing your income. Basically how to make the money. No techniques on hypnosis, it's just the nuts and bolts of marketing. This is the nuts and bolts of doing it. And then there's one other one I do, Confessions of a Hypnotist, ironically. Why it's called that, I don't know. But yeah, I gave it the title. It's just that on that one, in the morning, well, for the first day really, it's all Derren Brown stuff. How to read minds, look like a psychic, contact the dead. How to perhaps link that in with your hypno business, yeah. But then in the afternoon, the hypno part of that is I do therapy for kids, using magic tricks to capture their attention, their fixation point. But if you go on magicweek.co.uk, buy a few simple magic tricks, bear in mind all the nuts and bolts that we've looked at this weekend, then quite frankly you should be able to devise your own approaches without needing to come on that seminar. Fucking hell, that's bad sales technique. But the marketing one, we're coming on, but having done the nuts and bolts one, the other no. I mean, but other than that, if you go on hypnotherapycourse.net, click on join the news group down the left hand side. I mean, I'll send you emails. Those people have given emails reminding you, giving you a kick up the bum anywhere, where you can just click on it and say, yeah, join, and you'll instantly be in with all the members and Busby who you met earlier and 700 other odd people around the world. It's very supportive. And when new events are coming up, we let people know on there, but also you get a massive discount for being a member of the news group. So we've got one at the end of the year on stress management for corporate companies and corporate hypnosis, specifically how to get into that arena. I'm just doing a 2-hour guest spot on there and how to get in doing the smoking bit. There's a guy called Will Farcher who's on the news group, and his business is 90% going into corporate companies. That's why he's far more of an expert than me on it. I've done it, but he's forgotten more about it than I'll probably ever know. We've got Freeway CER in August. I know I mentioned before Desi's doing one in June, but the August one is actually the originators, Tom Bolton and Beverly Anderson, who devised the system and the healthy eating approach and the meditation and all that stuff. And that's it, I think. Oh, no, how could I forget? Yes, start of July, I mean, the dates vary each year. We've got Inner Revision Therapy, IRT. Now, please don't laugh, but that's a 2-day event by a colleague of mine, Paul Brady, whose approach has always been for the past 25 years, regression, 4 to 6 sessions. Find the cause of the problem, remove it. An Uncle Bertie syndrome. But he's particularly good at getting results with the Uncle Bertie syndrome. I don't necessarily personally agree with all of his approaches, but the point is they work for him. So, for the people who are more perverted-minded, I don't know, no, more, yeah, I'm a serious clinical hypnotherapist-minded is that one. And one of the best ones, if you want a bloody good laugh, a slight element of voyeurism and perversion, but not in a sexual manner. Unless it happens in the bar in the evening. But during the day is Barry St John's Hypnosensory Therapy in July. This guy, he uses all the nuts and bolts that we've covered this weekend. There's nothing he does that you haven't learnt this weekend. It's just that to think outside the box as much as he does. Well, I would never have thought of assembling the building blocks in the order. Somehow he's managed to like stack them so there's one there, one on the edge, and then 10 on the edge here, and the fucking thing hasn't fallen over. And it's off his head. Because he shows you how to use toilet rolls, fish spatulas, doll's house furniture, tea towels, playing cards, and other ordinary and not so ordinary everyday objects to cure people, basically, very rapidly. But yeah, if you want a bit of voyeurism, because people who come along to that will end up taking part, and he doesn't have no fucking messing around, Barry. Just about everyone that volunteers ends up crying their eyes out. Oh yes, it's a proper head fuck. But powerful stuff. No, timeline therapy they do in NLP, which is all this crap about which direction in your life's future, which is past. And allegedly some people it's that way. Where's forward, where's the back? It's all bollocks. Well, Barry's come up with an approach that, a bit like me doing complete mind therapy. You do it the same way for every client. You don't ask them loads of fucking questions. But uses the toilet roll, which ends up rolled out across the fucking room. It's your starting point, and where are you? You need to see it. Is there anyone in who's actually seen Barry's?
DVD.
Have you seen it as well, Jim? How would you sum it up? Because it's so difficult to describe Barry's amazing...
It made me sick for fun.
You what made you violent? Oh yeah!
Chocolate.
He did the rubber band twang, twang. But the tools that work, another way of using the building blocks we covered this weekend, but some very off the wall ways that ironically, because they're so off the wall, you know, when the client comes in, yeah, and you see him do it live, he does use this all the time. I just can't get my head quite round it. I prefer complete mind therapy and testicle spectacles for me to do on people, but to watch, or for someone else to use who's got the bottle. Can you imagine your client comes in, what's your problem? Well, Mr. Therapist, it's like this. I don't know, I'm stressed all the time, I'm having sexual problems, I think there's something that happened in the past, blah, blah. Stay there a minute. Off walks Barry, I kid you not, comes back with a box and removes a doll's house and furniture and says, no formal trance involved at this stage, I'm just going to leave you with them for a few minutes to get a sense and a feeling, a connection with them. And then when it's a seminar, he disappears outside for a cigarette. He comes back, and they're looking very bemused, fixation of attention. What the fuck's expectancy? And he uses that and does what they call in NLP a pattern interrupt, because they're like, what's going on? And he just goes, what's your name again, by the way? Look at your hand, close your eye, drift down. What's the mail? Says, when you wake up in a few moments' time, doll's house furniture is there, and I want you to change the furniture in a way that's right for you so that your problem starts to change. And there's a lot more going on than that, but it's down to him really to tell you, because it's his creation. And then when it's a seminar, he'll disappear for 10 or 15 minutes outside having a fag. And the person ends up crying their eyes out, they're flipping, having fits, and I wish I was over-exaggerating, but I'm not, am I?
No, you're not so burst into tears.
He's the master of the embedded command, is Barrett. This is the worst experience of their life. But 15, 20 minutes later, when he reframes it for them, it's the most memorable, life-changing experience that they'll ever have had in their life, whether it was with a doll's house, a bog roll, a tea towel, or an egg whisk, Play-Doh, yeah, rubber bands. That one's real good fun. In a somewhat slightly perverse manner as well. Yeah. Right, any more? Because I think it's time for the bar and packing up. Some of you must have homes to go to, or drinks to buy at the bar. Mine's a lager. No, in that case, right, those who didn't manage to get books who wanted them, Amazon.com, they take about, well, they say they take between 7 to 10 days for delivery. When do we get a new shipment?
About 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks. So if you can wait that extra few days, order off us, then I'll inscribe it for you, and one day it'll be worthless. Or order directly off Amazon and you'll get it 3 days earlier with no signature in. Thank you for travelling from all over the world, England, Ireland, Wales, America,
Glasgow.
and Glasgow, and all over the place. And even Blackpool. Thank you for listening. Those who are going to be in the bar tonight, well, put it this way, basically, it's going to take me half an hour to go packed up, and then I'll be in the bar. So if there are any more questions you think of, just come and ask me over a pint in there before you hit the road. Thank you for travelling. Thank you for filling in the forms. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your kind attention. My name's been Jonathan Royal. Have a safe journey home. Thank you. Cheers, safe journey.